Even just starting with the heat, it's pretty hot here, pretty hot down under. 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. 40 degrees, when I talk about 40 degrees Celsius, that's 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And in Australia, sometimes when it's 30 degrees Celsius, it actually feels like it's 35 degrees, or it actually feels like it's 40 degrees. And a lot of places, especially in Cairns, because up near the tropical area, it can be 100% humidity and it's seriously hot. And a lot of people don't realise as well, you know, so a lot of these clips I'm going to be doing, you know, tips and advice of how to be prepared, especially if you're coming all the way here and you don't know, you don't want your holiday to be ruined because you got sick or because you got sunstroke, because you didn't know, you know, how to prepare. Even as an Australian, I sometimes might forget to put SPF on, or I might forget to put a hat on, or whatever, and you can actually severely injure yourself and end up in hospital, and in some cases die if you're not prepared, or if you're not, especially if you're going into the rainforest. It's not a modern area, there's not shops and things there, there's a couple of hotels there, but you really need to bring, and I'll be talking about that, what you should bring with you and how you should become prepared when you're going into some of these places, because, you know, yeah, in Australia, you know, you can go to some places and if you're not prepared, you can actually die. You can actually, you know, there can be some severe consequences. So yeah, I'll be talking about things like that, so you can at least, you know, make the most of your time here and, you know, have a fantastic holiday. And yeah, so one of the first places I'll be talking about is Byron Bay. And I also had the unique opportunity when I went to Cairns and stayed there, and then I went up to the top of the rainforest. It's the oldest rainforest in the world. It's been around 200 million years. Some of the animals that still exist in the rainforest today been there for 180 million years. So it's a very special place. Certainly one to do put on your bucket list. But you need to be prepared when you go there. Really, really special place. And yeah, I'll be putting together some advice. If you are going there, you do need to get prepared. One of the things I thought I would also talk about is, especially when you hit the tropics, even if you're not in the tropics, a lot of people tell you, you know, you've got to wear sunscreen, and a lot of people don't listen. They think, oh no, I want to get really dark, or I want to get really brown or black, I want to get a suntan. In Australia, a lot of people might not realise, the whole in the ozone layer is sort of situated above Australia and New Zealand, around this area. So not only are you, is the sun, you know, more deadly, and we're not just saying that to make that up, make that up. It actually is, because you know, a lot of those rays get through and can be quite damaging. So, and also in Australia, because there's such a high percentage of people dying from melanoma and skin cancers, the government tests all SPF products. So if you want to sell SPF in Australia, even if you're an Australian company, the government will test all those products to make sure that if you say like a product is SPF 20 or SPF 30, that it actually is, and each company has to pay at least $10,000 for that testing to take place, because by law you're not allowed to just whack on a label and say this has got SPF whatever in it and it doesn't. So they actually get tested, so you can be rest assured that if you're buying SPF in Australia, that it really is going to protect you. We've still got a lot of international brands. We've got La Roche-Posay, and there's some other, that's a French brand. We've got some USA brands that you can buy here. And the reason why I mention that is because, you know, I had like a friend come to visit, and they brought it, they were American and brought some friends, and they were going out in the sun when I was staying here, and they'd come back, and I thought to myself, are they getting burnt? I said, are you putting SPF on? And they said, yeah, and they had SPF 30 or something like that on, and every time they came back into the house, they looked like they'd been burnt. So, and of course that stopped when they ran out, and I gave them some brand that I had here to keep them going, and then they stopped getting burnt. So, you know, the brand that you're buying in your country may not be the best. Yeah, we sell a lot of overseas brands here, and they've all been tested. So if, you know, a particular company from the US or from France wants to sell SPF here, they have to pay $10,000. So you know that if it's sitting on a shelf here in Australia, you know that you can wear it. So, you know, if you come in here, yeah, sure, bring some SPF, just enough to maybe last you a day or two, but you're better off actually buying it here. And you might find your favourite brand at home available here in the shops, because, you know, you don't really know if your brand that you're bringing is good enough for Australian conditions, and that's really important, because you don't want to go home with skin cancer. That is the last thing that you want to do. So that's the first thing that I'll be saying is, yeah, bring some SPF, but when you get here, you're better off buying locally. And another thing, reef friendly brands are starting to become a thing. We've got a lot of you know, coral, beautiful coral in Queensland and different parts of Australia. And, you know, if you're wearing a lot of products that have got a lot of chemicals in it, it can actually destroy the coral. So you can buy, you know, reef-friendly SPF here as well. So sort of take note of that more when you're in Queensland. There's not as much, you know, there's not coral here in New South Wales, but definitely if you can buy it here and you start, you know, using SPF 30 the minimum, but in summer SPF 50 is a must. It really is. And yeah, so I'll go into that in more detail, but that's something I wanted to talk about, because a lot of my English friends would be saying, oh no, I don't need to put SPF on, I want to get, you know, nice and brown. It's not the same sun as in Europe, you know, because you're in Australia, and yeah, there's a big hole in the ozone layer. So, you know, it is actually legitimately dangerous. And I also want to talk to you further to the reason why it's so dangerous here with the sun. Yes, and I got this off Google. So during summer in Australia, the Earth orbit brings Australia closer to the sun. So as compared to Europe during its summer, resulting in an additional 7% solar UV intensity. So coupled with also clearer atmospheric conditions, this means that Australians are exposed up to 15% more UV than Europeans. So you've got that aspect, as well as the hole in the ozone layer across quite a number of parts in Australia, and that you're looking at some severe sun damage. So it's not about, oh, you know, I want to get brown. That's a load of garbage. Even with SPF, I had SPF 50 on when I was in the Daintree Rainforest, and I even had shade from the rainforest at some points when I was walking through. I wasn't even in the sun, and I still got burnt. So I had on really good sunscreen, still got pink. I still went nice and, you know, brown. And I think one day I forgot my hat and I had terrible sunstroke. I mean, you can actually die from that, from heat stroke. So, you know, it's not a laughing matter. It's not, it's something quite serious, SPF and covering yourself. So I wanted to say that in the beginning, that's no matter where you go in Australia, SPF, even if it's somewhere cold, you can still get really damaged by the sun. So now that I've given the exact reasons why, there's no excuse. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoy my little clips. It gives you the opportunity to see some of the places, and it's not professional, it's amateur, but I'll also be including some things on what you can do to be prepared when you go to those places and make the most of your time here. Okay.